Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to episode 38 of Monorail Memoirs. This week, Disney on a time crunch, 1 day plans for each park. We know that EPCOT is the best park, and there's no doubt about it, and there's no debate and no negotiation. Do 4 days in EPCOT. Thanks for joining us this week, everybody. No, okay, we actually do 1 day for each park. Before we get into it, Lauren, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. I did a 10K today race,
Okay.
and so I feel great.
Oh, bravo, well done. We should still celebrate even the smaller races because we get so hepped up on celebrating the big ones. And
Absolutely.
don't know about you, but my algorithm on Instagram is all ultra marathons and yeah.
Yeah.
And I know it was a couple of weeks ago, but well done to those who did Dopey. Well done to those who engaged in even the Goofy challenge at the Walt Disney World Marathon. That was well done. That was the first weekend of January, second weekend. It was around early January, but well done to those people. So what we're talking about today, then, we have 4 days, and the idea is we're doing 1 day per park. We can get into the discussion about if Animal Kingdom's a full day park later. We're not doing that. We're just saying that each day is allocated a park. Easy. And so we're going to go in chronological order of when the parks were built. So starting with Magic Kingdom. Now, if you're doing a full day in Magic Kingdom, there's a couple of things I want to caveat with, right? If you want to do rope drop and you want to get there first thing and you want to stay till the end of the day when your fireworks are done, could you do everything? I'd say you could do 80 to 95% of things. You could do most of it. You might miss out on a couple of things. However, if you've got children, especially small children, you're going to want to nap. If you care about food and eateries and you want to sit down and actually have a nice dining experience, you are going to sacrifice some of the attractions to achieve that. So this is a broad brush statement, but the more that you want to do in terms of attractions, you have to ignore parades, you have to ignore dining opportunities, and you have to ignore that all coveted midday nap. So Lauren, in which case then, if you think about, you're getting there in the morning, you're there, whether it's with you and the little ones, what are the things just in the morning that you want to achieve at Magic Kingdom?
So I know that a lot of people go instantly to the big rides. We're talking Tron, Seven Dwarfs, those sorts of things. And if you're kind of smart about it, you can actually get quite a few shorter, littler rides in. So I know that some people like to do the rope drop and all that sort of stuff and try and get, hit one of those big hitters straight away. But I'm kind of a fan of trying to get some of the little ones done so that you can do kind of like 3, maybe 4 little rides in the same land within about an hour.
So what are you referring to when you say little rides?
So like if you went to Fantasyland, for example, we've got It's a Small World, we've got the Under the Sea, the Little Mermaid ride.
Yeah, New Fantasyland.
Yeah. You've got kind of the Dumbo rides in Storybook Circus.
Yes, but the reason why people, when rope drop happens, the reason why they run to the big races, too busy talking about running, Lauren. The reason why they run to the big rides is because you cannot get a better opportunity than at first drop than to do those. And to give people an idea, there was a video that went viral, and it's a couple of months ago now, but it's when Tron stopped being the virtual queue lightning lane and moved to just a standard wait time. And somebody sat there on their phone and watched the film Tron quicker than it took to start queuing and get on the ride. That said much. So with that in mind, I understand your goal of trying to do the quieter ones. It's not how I would approach it. If you're asking me how I would approach it, I would go and do Big Thunder Mountain.
Yeah.
I would go and do, I nearly said Splash Mountain, but that's not true anymore. Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I'd consider even Haunted Mansion because those wait times can creep up. But Magic Kingdom as a park is going to be the park where you do a lot of the nostalgia stuff. And so if you have those connections to it, great, fantastic. If you're new to it, you might not really get why Haunted Mansion's such a iconic ride, but it just is. We deal with it and we get over it. So, all right then, you've done your small rides, and if you've not noticed, what we're doing here is I'm letting you do Magic Kingdom because I can do EPCOT because you won't have a clue what to do properly. So right, okay, so you've done your small rides. It's got to midday. you're going to have to eat at some point. You have to eat at some point. Whether it, you might not be sitting down and doing a formal, princess dining room experience. You might not be doing the buffet at the Crystal Palace. But what are you going to do?
I'm definitely doing a quick service. Definitely, absolutely. If you want to smash out the amount of attractions that Magic Kingdom has to offer, and it is a heck of a lot when you actually sit down and itemize everything, and kind of an average wait time of sometimes about 30 to 40 minutes per ride, and that's not talking about the big rides. You can't waste time on food. I know that there are a lot of exciting eateries and all that sort of stuff in Magic Kingdom, especially, a lot of the character dining.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are just wanting to go hell for leather straight away, let's try and get everything cracked off, it's definitely a quick service. And I mean, my favourite quick service is Casey's Corner, but sometimes you can be waiting quite a while at Casey's.
Now, for those who don't understand, I have an issue with the amount of integration that Disney has done with the My Disney Experience app. You almost can't do a full day properly without it now. However, one of the things it can do is you can mobile order at certain quick service locations. Casey's one of them, Cosmic Rays is another. And what you do is you put what time you're going to be there. It's a time window, granted, but it's like a half-hour time window. Time you're going to be there. You order it, you pay for it using Apple Pay, Android Pay, whatever you're utilizing. And then when that window of time is up, you get there, you say, I'm here, and then they start cooking the food. If you're clever, you say you're here, I'm a few minutes out, and actually do it that way. But it means that you don't have to wait. You can, if you're old school, there are still options to go up to the counter and queue and pay, and whether you wish to pay in cash, for example, that can still be done. And sometimes that is actually quicker than mobile ordering. But with what you're saying, if you're using this purely for fuel and sustainment, you know when you're going to want to be there, you order it, you get off your last attraction, you start heading there, and you go, boom, I'm here, I'm a few minutes away, I'm here, and then they start cooking it. So yeah, I understand it hitting cases. The problem is though, are you saying you're only going to have one meal in a day? Because if you're doing that for a full 11-hour day, 12-hour day in Magic Kingdom, you'll be hanging.
This is where I think packed lunches come into it as well. I know
Yes.
that a lot of people kind of can't do packed lunches, if they don't have transport outside of the Disney hotels, or if they've got the dining plan, for example. It wouldn't make any sense to, go out of the park and get, stuff for a packed lunch. But for me, this is where they make sense. You can literally jump off your ride, sit on a wall, eat your sandwich, and keep going. You don't have to wait to order. You don't have to find a seat. All of that faffy stuff that you have to do that you don't really factor into your day. You can just sit on a wall and eat a sandwich.
I understand, and it's certainly the more economical option. I agree. You say if people don't have the resources, the fact of the matter is now you can get Walmart Plus Instacart delivered to whatever hotel you're in anyway. So it can be done. You may lack utensils required to make it work, yes. And I was about to say you don't have a microwave, but honestly, if you're in Florida in the summer, just leave it out in the heat for 2 minutes and the damn thing will cook. Okay, fine. So you supply yourself with snacks throughout the day. Okay. Then in terms of how we're going to hit the afternoon, if you've done the small rides in the morning, you've done, as you've just mentioned, eaten, whether that be at Casey's, so midday, how are you going to approach the afternoon, bearing in mind their entire trip you get one day at Magic Kingdom?
Yeah, it is tough. I think that I would probably kind of do what you would do in the morning and then try kind of Big Thunder, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, kind of towards around about 2 o'clock-ish, because sometimes you can find there is a slump in the parks at around 2 o'clock-ish when people are either park hopping or they're going back for that nap that you mentioned. So there can sometimes after lunch be a slight slump in the parks. I'm not saying that all the wait times are down to 10 minutes, don't get me wrong, but it is a slight slump that you can try and get off some of those bigger hitters. I'm going to leave the actual big rides to the end, though.
Okay, so hang on. What do you mean the actual big rides?
So like Seven Dwarfs, for example, Tron.
Sorry, Seven Dwarfs. I know people love it.
It's a long wait time. That's what I'm thinking.
2 hours, and it's a slightly faster version of the Barnstormer.
The theme is fab, though.
Not those projected faces. They're not. There's a reason why There's a reason why Frozen in Epcot, they're going away from those creepy faces.
Yeah.
They're copying what they're doing at Tokyo Disney Sea, because for anyone who's not seen those projected faces on the inside of this, it's something that's nightmare fuel. Nightmare fuel.
Bizarre.
So okay, you're leaving the bigger ones till the evening. How are you going to incorporate that into your fireworks strategy?
Well, that's the thing. What are you sacrificing here? Do you want to get all the attractions done, or do you want to get the fireworks done?
So you're saying you either have to do Tron or the fireworks?
Well, no, not necessarily, but you have to be really smart with either whether or not you want to see the fireworks from the front of the castle, if you don't mind seeing them from the back of the castle, from another place.
Which is underrated, by the way.
Exactly.
Seeing them from Tomorrowland is underrated. Do you get the same angles? No. Do you get to see the things down Main Street? No. Do you still get a good view of the fireworks and all the audio's pumped through the park anyway? Yes.
And it's all around you as well. It's kind of mind-blowing sometimes when you know the show and you see it at the castle and then you go into Tomorrowland and it's happening all around you. It is bizarre.
I agree, but for what it's worth, underrated spot, standing in Tomorrowland and watching it near Space Mountain. I am dismayed though, Lauren, because you have neglected the best attraction in Walt Disney World. When are we fitting in the Carousel of Progress?
If it's a really hot day.
Nope, any day.
So for me, it is a slight waste of 25 minutes. If you're going to want to smash out the parks, I wouldn't want you to waste 25 minutes of that.
Right. Viewer, just shoot me for a second. Ignore her. The Carousel of Progress, created for the 1964-65 World's Fair by Walt Disney himself. Yes, the final scene has been amended, and yes, the opening scene is going to be amended as well shortly because it's a little bit dull, is the best attraction. There is nothing more wholesome. There is nothing more wholesome in the whole of Walt Disney World than having a full family experience, sitting in front of, watching the American family as it goes through the 20th century. You can't beat it. What?
When you're talking about that midday nap, that would be a great place to have.
Hey, no. Although some people do fall asleep in there because it's air conditioned and it's dark and it's quiet. Anyway, okay, so right, you've had your day in Magic Kingdom, wasted it. Here's what you're doing: Epcot, rope drop, Guardians of the Galaxy, boom, go, get it done, get it smashed out. It's going to be the longest wait time that you're going to get all day in Epcot. Now, the real question here is, do you want to get drunk? Because if you want to get drunk in Epcot, you have to start early. No, it's important. You have to start early. Yeah. Because for a lot of people, there are many American listeners here, the approach to alcohol here is different. But the point is that if you want to have 11 drinks, you got to start early, right? Because you ain't doing them in 3 hours, sunshine.
No.
It's expensive, but you're not doing them in 3 hours. So I would say, smash out Guardians. Whilst you're there, you've got the entire land pavilion. Go and do Soaring. Soaring wait times are going to be going up because it's the 250th anniversary of America. They're having a whole special show just for this year that is, well, flying over America. Whereas the original Soaring was soaring over California. They then went soaring over the world, which just doesn't work. The Eiffel Tower bends like this and it just doesn't work. But then soaring over across America. And they've already, they've shown some behind the scenes of them filming it. It's going to be great. So my suggestion would be Guardians, Soaring. Go and do Living with the Land, because Living with the Land is another underrated attraction. I think that's fantastic. And then I would utilize my time in the land to hit a quick service meal.
Absolutely.
Get some food in. Just get it food in. And then you're going to want to go around and do World Showcase. Where do we go? Which way around World Showcase do we go, Lauren?
I go clockwise.
You start in Mexico, don't you?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a debate that has been going on in the Disney community for a long time. You have the educated, savvy consumer, such as myself, who will say we start in Canada and we go anti-clockwise. You will have the sheeple, such as Lauren, who insist we have to start in Mexico. No, we don't have to start in Mexico. We don't. We end in Mexico. So we can do Canada. We can do as many of the pavilions as we want. We can do as much drinking as we want. We can get round to Mexico. We finish in Mexico. Finish in Mexico, we do the Grand Fiesta tour. And you know what? If you've got reservations, you can have dinner there because the San Angel Inn that I've eaten at, by the way, Wonderful. You only need 2 appetizers between 2 people. You don't even need a full course. It's good. From there, you then go and do test track, and once you've done test track, you are now getting towards a point where you need to slow down. And so, how do we slow down in Epcot? We go to Spaceship Earth, and we sit there and we listen to the cool tones of Dame Judi Dench taking us through the history of communication. And from there, you've done the park. And if I'm honest, this has taken 9 hours. From there, you can then either chill out and take it a little bit slow, or you can get yourself a really good position to watch the Epcot fireworks. You've done the full World Showcase lap. You've done Guardians, which is possibly the best ride in Disney actually at the minute.
Yeah.
You've got Test Track done. You've got Soaring done, and all the other icons. That's my day in Epcot. I will pay you if you can dismantle that suggestion.
I think the only thing that you've missed out for me, especially with the children, is the Seas Pavilion. That aquarium is really, really nice, and especially if you've got young ones, sort of like 3-year-olds, it's perfect for. They've got kind of floor to ceiling glass that is just massive tanks of fish and sharks and stingrays and all sorts, and they absolutely love it there. For me, that's the only thing that you kind of missed.
That is fair. The actual Finding Nemo attraction isn't worth much, but you can walk in through the back, and it's not by no means breaking any rules. You can walk into the back to the aquarium and Seas Pavilion itself, and you can get really good, as Lauren says. When we say floor to ceiling, it's 4 to 3-story ceiling.
Yeah.
Like, it is huge, and so you can really get some good stuff there if you're interested in interested in marine life in general. They do have usually 1 or 2 manatees there as well that have been rescued, because manatees, especially in Florida, you're not allowed to touch them if they're wild, but also sometimes they get hit by propellers in speedboats and things, and they need somewhere to recuperate, and Disney does take those on. So Epcot, I actually think, can be surprisingly efficient if you get there and you knock it out of the park. I think the next 2 days are a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Let's start with some Hollywood Studios then. Lauren, how are you approaching the morning of Hollywood Studios?
So that's kind of tricky because it's got some kind of big hitters, and it depends if you are a massive fan of one of the franchise. So, for example, Star Wars. As we all know, I've never watched Star Wars.
Yeah.
And so I don't really get the whole Galaxy's Edge excitement thing. I love the rides, don't get me wrong, they are really cool. But for me, they are just rides. I know for fans of the series and the, kind of, what would you call like a load of films?
The universe. Star Wars universe.
That's it, yeah, the Star Wars universe. I get that that's a massive thing. So I think if you are one of those massive fans, you need to be heading there straight away, because it is a very immersive land and there is a lot to do if you like that sort of thing. For me, I would just be bobbing in, doing the rides and bobbing back out again, which can sometimes still take quite a while, especially with Rise of the Resistance. It is a long wait. So I would probably try and rope drop that, if I'm honest. You can kind of circle back, to Smuggler's Run if you want to do that. That would maybe be about a 30 to 40 minute wait, I think. So you don't have to do that straight away after Rise, but I would definitely go to Rise first to kind of hit that off my list, because during the day it can get ridiculous.
I agree. I could not emphasize more, you need to rope drop Rise, because Rise of Resistance, even now, even though it's been open for years, still gets 2.5 to 3 hour wait times. You've got to go and do it. I think, yes, I get Star Wars can be an acquired taste. You don't need to learn anything about Star Wars to appreciate the Rise of the Resistance attraction. No. It is a very fundamental, and I don't want to ruin it for people who've not seen it, but the whole queuing system is broken into several parts.
Yeah,
not like anything that I've seen before, and Disney hasn't copied it since Myriad. It's fantastic. I do think there is a downside to this. Rise 3 or 4 years ago was better, and what I mean by that is the staff were encouraged to interact with people like you were the prisoners, and so they were very, ordering you around. Inevitably, some people will have had, complained about it, and so now they just treat you like they do any other ride. It's not quite as good. But Rise is a must-do straight out the gate. Yes, you're not going to get anything that has got a bigger wait time than that. Where are you going to go, though? Sort of, okay, you do Star Wars Land in the morning. Great. Where are you going for midday, though?
So you can actually, there is a little bit of a back door entrance, if you will, to Toy Story Land through Galaxy's Edge. So I would probably hit that next, because that, again, can also get very, very busy as well.
You can, and I think that's probably where you're going to be getting lunch, because you can get Woody's Lunchbox, which is a quick service location, and Slinky Dog Dash does get some wait times as well. The only thing that I will say about Toy Story Land, and it was a complaint from the beginning, and they've never resolved it, there's almost no shade. Yeah. So if you are there in the middle of summer and you're in Toy Story Land, good luck, sunshine. Yeah. It's not fun. The best cover you've got is near the restrooms, which is why people stand all around them, which is a bit weird. But yeah, Slinky Dog Dash and Toy Story Mania, previously Toy Story Midway Mania, but Toy Story Mania can get some long lines, but they are both covered at least. So that's where you've got to get your food. I agree. There is, I think, once you've done Star Wars and Toy Story Land, though, there's only two when it reopens, but two big hitters left for the entire park of Hollywood Studios, and that's, I nearly said the old name, but it's Rock and Roller Coaster featuring the Muppets. I have many thoughts on this. Rock and Roller Coaster featuring the Muppets and Tower of Terror, both of which can be long lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But you also have to go past Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So, for me, it would be checking on the app. You know, like, you're leaving Toy Story Land, right, where are we going? Are we going straight to Hollywood Tower Hotel, which houses the Tower of Terror ride, or are we stopping off at Mickey and Minnie's? Because you kind of have to pass Mickey and Minnie's to go there anyway. Yeah. So if the wait times are kind of the same, I would probably duck into Mickey and Minnie's just to get that ticked off. Although it can kind of slump in the evening, can Mickey and Minnie's. So because Fantasmic is kind of towards Rock and Roller Coaster featuring the Muppets, and Tower of Terror, so they can get really busy on an evening because people jump on them before going to Fantasmic. So
yeah, now I have heard that some people think Fantasmic is the best nighttime show.
I have to say it has a special place in my heart, and it is actually my husband's favourite nighttime show.
It's, for me, I understand the appeal. What I dislike is the getting in and getting out.
Yes.
It's the worst of all of the three nighttime shows. It's the worst by a long way.
I think it's because it is an enclosed kind of amphitheatre, so you can't just kind of ad hocly stand there and then quickly go to the exit. It's like, you don't really want to move because there's chairs everywhere. You might fall, you might hurt somebody, you might bump into somebody. I think logistically it's just really difficult to make a quick exit because understandably Disney cast members want everyone to leave safely. So they very much kind of police how people get out, which inherently makes it quite slow.
It makes it very slow. And that's my biggest issue with it. I think, and I don't know how it would be done, but there needs to be two exits. There needs to be one at each side. Yeah. Not just the one entrance exit. We can move forward to Animal Kingdom. Now, there are still criticisms, valid, I could argue.
Yeah.
The Animal Kingdom is a half-day park. If somebody in this house hears me say that, all my days I'm going to be shot. There is only one big wait time attraction, and that's in Pandora. That's Flights of Passage. That is 2 hours plus sometimes. That's the only one you've got to worry about. That's the big wait. If you can get that out of the way, the rest of the day is going to be easy. Navi River Journey, which is the other ride in Pandora, I feel free to skip that. That is a terrible water ride that is just sitting on a boat. It's honestly, I'd rather do It's a Small World over and over again. Expedition Everest doesn't have the queues it used to. It just doesn't. It used to have 2 hours plus. Now 30, 40 minutes.
And I don't understand it, because for me, when we're talking about kind of mountains, for me it's my favorite mountain.
Yes, I do get that, but I think it has quite a high turnover rate. True. And you can get a lot of people through it at once. And if you do ever take the physical queue rather than going through the lightning lane or the single rider for Everest, take time to have a look around, because the artifacts have got a fantastic. They really are. So once you've done Flights of Passage in Everest, well, then the only other thing you've got left to do is Kilimanjaro Safari, which the safari is good because it's never the same attraction twice. Animals move. You can't keep them in the same place. And, you know, the experience you get first thing in the morning versus midday versus at night is completely different. The other attraction I would have said is Dinosaur, but Dinosaur is, as well, once this is coming out, is days away from closing. So, you know, we don't need to do that. The one thing that's a bit of a hidden gem, and especially if you have children, is the Rafiki's Planet Watch. That I think is great. You know, it has a petting zoo. You can go pet goats. So if you have children or people with you who like goats, you can go to Rafiki's Planet Watch. It's great. And so Animal Kingdom is definitely the most chill. There's no nighttime parades. There's no nighttime shows because the animals got to sleep. So if you are going to, you know, if you have a late flight out, for example, Animal Kingdom would be the best one to do for day 4. I could do a full day in Animal Kingdom. I think I would be stretching it to achieve that.
Yeah, so I would kind of flip your day on its head, if I'm honest. So I would do the safari first because the animals are probably the most lively at Rope Drop because it's a little bit cooler. You know, as we say, especially in the summer months, Florida can get very, very hot and very, very humid. And yes, even though these animals should be used to the warm weather, it still kind of tires them out. So they are really active at, you know, the park open and park close. I've seen a lot of vlogs recently, actually, of kind of Disney YouTubers doing Flight of Passage on an evening, and it's taken them about 15 minutes to get through the queue.
Really?
So, yeah. So
is that because people go to Animal Kingdom first thing in the morning and then park up to somewhere else?
Because it closes so early.
It does close early. It closes much earlier than all the others.
Yeah.
That's some interesting information. I do like that one. With that in mind, though, folks, that has been a very quick canter through your one-day plan for each park. Please let us know what you think. Please let us know why Lauren is wrong for not including the Carousel of Progress. If you don't comment, I will. But other than that, thank you very much for attending, as always. We'll see you again next week. And until then, please stand clear of the doors. Bye, everybody.
Bye.